Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. My name is Dave, and alongside me today, I've got some fantastic co-hosts. We'll start off with Mr. Finn Morris. Finn, how you keeping?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. Yeah, football aside, everything's good.
Good. Yeah, definitely football aside. And alongside us today is Mr. Tom Parker. Tom, how's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Just trying to, similar to Finn. Forget about the weekend. Everything else is fine. Champions League in midweek. Get to watch some good footy again. So there you go.
How are you, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, all good. Again, football aside, but I appreciate everyone that's stopping by to listen. Obviously, after a defeat, it's never good, but we'll try and break down that defeat against Brighton. I'm going to talk about the current situation at Wolves a little bit as well, because I know that's been the hot talking point over social media. We'll have a little transfer-related game later on in the episode, and we will also have your questions that were submitted to us over on Twitter. But once again, before we kick off, big thanks to the guys at Wolves for having us on Wolves Radio. Segments of our podcasts are available on there. If you haven't already listened, 24/7 radio station on the Wolves app. And of course, BetMate. The BetMate game for our Chelsea match this weekend is already up and live. So you can join that. The link and the code are in the top of the description. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Brighton results later on as well. But lads, a heavy, disappointing 3-0 defeat at home to Brighton this week. Wolves just did not really get going. Finn, I had the pleasure of sitting with you in the fantastic WV1 bar on Saturday.
Not bad.
Yeah. Have you been able to sort of process in your mind what actually happened on Saturday?
Process maybe. Review definitely not, because I haven't watched Match of the Day. I haven't watched any highlights. I feel like I haven't watched the day for about a month. I just every time, even if there's a great game elsewhere, if Wolves have lost, no chance. So I haven't looked at anything else anymore. Like, to me, the first penalty wasn't a handball, but apparently we were very wrong on that one. Apparently it's very, very blatant. But I've literally seen that flash up in the stadium. I've seen nothing else from the game. Kind of just want to forget it. And processing it, you go through that sort of roller coaster, don't you? Of sort of like, you've seen on social media, it's managers got to go, players are toxic, everyone hates each other. Oh no, but we're in 8th, we'd have taken this at the start of the season. You go up and down, and I think when a group of results come like this, it's easier to lean towards the negative. But spread out across the season, which I've tried to be philosophical about, we'd have taken it. It's just so frustrating that we've had this chance, and what we've spoken about the last few weeks, it felt like every game's a big game. We can take some here. West Ham are basically begging us to take a European place, and they bottle it every week. And this week they bottled it in style. It was an very impressive bottle.
Oh, I mean, I think that we've lost our last 3. West Ham have dropped points in their last 4. I think they've drawn and lost 3 of their last 4. They are, and obviously we're still within touching distance of them. So when you actually look at the league table, as probably as a neutral, you probably think Wolves have still got a chance. But us as fans have probably written off that opportunity for the last 3 or 4 games. Obviously, you've touched on the situation regarding the manager and the players, which we'll talk about more later. But Tom, that first penalty, when me and Finn were in the ground, we didn't know it would happen. Obviously, the VAR check happened, and I looked at the screen, and I thought it was very, very harsh. Put that on Twitter, and I was very quickly shut down. What were your opinion of it?
As you would have seen on Twitter as well. It was a clear penalty. Very strange decision by Saiz, to be honest. When you talking about your experienced pros, I had a conversation with someone before the game about starting Totti Gomez, and there's a few people that felt that Saiz should start because of his experience. But experience doesn't really count for a lot, really, when someone as hot-headed as Saiz, he does have that sort of decision in him. He'll make the odd mistake, the miss-hit clearance against Leeds is a perfect example. He just gets these rash moments, when he used to get booked all the time as well. But very strange, stuck his arm out, leant into it as well. It's just really odd. I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with it, particularly with how forensic VAR is these days with offsides and handballs. So it's just disappointing, really, because we've conceded 9 penalties this season. It always looks like there's a mistake in these centre halves, and we look so clumsy defending our own penalty box. It's ridiculous sometimes. They shoot themselves in the foot. Since the turn of the year, since the end of January, really, it's been really, really poor. I don't know what's happened. going from one of the strongest defenses in the league to making mistakes pretty much every week. So it's a strange one. Clear penalty, but yeah, obviously we got let off with it as well, though.
Yeah, I think the difference was, Dave, what we didn't see on the screen was that he sort of won the distance, like I always think about Kilman's one at Leicester last season, where you go, how is that penalty? It's so close, and he doesn't lean into it. Whereas Sace, what we didn't see is actually goes for
we
the ball.
We saw the one,
distance,
I think it was his right arm was sticking out, wasn't it? And we thought, and then obviously the left arm was sort of stood almost by his body to a degree. So when I thought they'd given it, I thought, oh, it must have hit his right arm. But when the angle showed it hit him with his left arm, I think they cut it quite short as well in the stadium. We couldn't believe it, could we? But like I said, very, very quickly shut off on social media. And obviously they missed it, hit the post and out. Wolves, you would think, got away with it. You would think that would be a wake-up call, but we were very, very wrong. Tom, I think it was Danny Welbeck that won the second penalty for Brighton. Seemed to be a bit of a bright spark for them, to be fair. You talk about experienced pros. You know, he's somebody that, you know, without injuries could have had a very different career, but still a very solid player. Gets through on goal and Bolly caught out completely. And again, that's another Stonewall pen, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be honest. At first, I thought it was a little bit harsh. I thought it seemed as though Bolly had kind of tripped him as he was falling over.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those where you can make an argument for and against, really. But I think when you're talking this season and modern football and et cetera, it is pretty much a Stonewall penalty. And again, poor decision making. I've not been overly convinced by Bolly since he's come back into the side. He's had great performances bringing the ball out from the back, and in terms of his presence on the ball, you can tell that there is a difference, but not enough of a difference for me between him or Saïs or Kilman to really push us up another level. And that mixed with these lapses in concentration defensively. I mean, again, you go back to that Leeds game and he's literally walking around the penalty area, just doing absolutely just watching. Yeah, it's strange that these players with so much experience as well, they know the Prem inside out. They've been in the Prem for years now, making silly mistakes again and just being sloppy, and it's costing us. It's just lazy defending, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, and I think, I thought first half against Burnley, I thought Bolly was pretty solid. But I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, but the next level for Wolves now, and as much as we love these defenders, the back three, especially that back three that started, have been with us for a number of years, 4 or 5 seasons now. And that's probably one of the issues for Wolves. That's probably what is holding us back as a club and as a squad, that we are holding on to these players. Yes, they're good footballers, but are they good enough to get Wolves to become a top 7 team on a regular basis? Probably not. And it probably is time for a change. And it wouldn't surprise me to see, obviously, Saïs has been offered a contract at Wolves, but also got offers elsewhere. Willy Bolly, to be honest, I'm very surprised he's been able to break back into the squad. I think he's had good moments, but again, he's had bad moments, and the bad moments have actually cost us dearly. The Leeds one that you mentioned, this one against Brighton as well. And Finn, Sarr came close to stopping the penalty, but obviously, I mean, like I said, I think the bloke in front of us thought he'd saved it, started celebrating, and it went into the back of the net, and the boos rang around Molineux at half-time, didn't they? That fans, even only at 1-0 down, really weren't impressed with the performance.
Yeah, because like you say, it was like, it's sort of one of those unwritten rules in football that if a team misses a penalty, it's got to galvanise the other team, hasn't it? And Wolves just didn't have a sniff, and it was one-way traffic again up until that second penalty. And we say about Sarr, it's probably the only flaw you could give him. He never really looks like saving a penalty, does he? Everything else has been superb, but giving away a few and never really looks like getting to him, because he probably should, if we're being harsh, from where we saw down the opposite end. He went the right way. It looked like it went through his hands. And as a man, if anyone has the new Jose Sarr card on FIFA as well, just needed 1 clean sheet in 5 games. And none of those have come for him to get an upgrade, and it hasn't happened. So I was particularly angry at him missing that one. But no, yeah, there was booing for, as I said on the review, there was booing for adding on extra time. There was a bit of like the Burnley game, there was booing of subs. There's a lot of booing going on at the moment. It is strange. And as I said at the very start, I think when it all comes at once, all these negative vibes, then it does culminate like this. But it's a weird place to be at the moment.
Yeah, it's strange as well. We've had a lot of positives this season. You could argue maybe before the last few weeks we would have had more positives and negatives, but it's again, it's happened the last couple of years where the seasons are ending on a little bit of a sour note, and I would say that for the last 2 or 3 years, really. You know, I remember when we lost out in the quarters of the Europa League, although you know we did such a good job. Because we almost bottled Europe that year again, it just left such a sour taste. Last season, for obvious reasons, was a disappointing end to the season, and this season has had the same effect. And it's a shame because we've had some great positive moments, some great games this season, and it's almost coming to the end of the season. It feels like it might be a season to forget again, which is quite frustrating considering a lot of the circumstances. Tom, the second half, Wolves didn't improve though. You would expect some sort of response at halftime. 1-0 down. We've given them 2 bites of the cherry to put a goal in the back of the net from the penalty spot. But second half, no improvement. What did Bruno Lage say to those players? Because nothing changed at all.
Well, this is kind of my concern, I suppose. And I think this kind of again comes from having the same players for a number of years. You've seen it happen at United and Spurs in recent campaigns where players kind of, as soon as some things aren't going right for them, they down tools. We saw that towards the end of Pochettino's reign, and we've seen that at United for years. I know obviously the two squads aren't comparable, but I think the attitudes are kind of giving me this similar vibes, really. It's just one of those where the players just can't seem to get themselves up. I mean, if you look at it statistically, it's not great either. I mean, I think it's like 16 games we've gone behind this season. And I think we've failed to get any points from 15 of those. And the only one
we didn't was one game, haven't we?
Yeah. That was the Villa game. And you could argue that we were lucky to get anything out of that Villa game. So it's a concern. It is really, really a big concern because it's the same as last season. As soon as we conceded, you knew the game was pretty much done and dusted because the players just could not seem to just galvanise themselves to get back into the game, which is strange because we've mentioned on previous podcasts, our record under Nuno from losing positions was really, really good. We were one of the best teams. I remember the graphic always used to come up. We were one of the best teams at keeping a lead, but we're also one of the best teams at getting points from behind as well. And I think that's missing from this team badly. And I think the problem is that you've got a kind of catch-22 or a circle there where because the players aren't playing well, the atmosphere is bad. Because the atmosphere is bad, the players can't get motivated. And because they can't get motivated, they don't play as well. And again, it goes back, the atmosphere suffers again. So it's strange. I really don't know what's happened this season. I was expecting, to come back to a raucous Molineux. Fans, I think the atmosphere this season, it's fair to say, has been fairly flat, even for some of the biggest games. It's just strange. I think maybe the price increases have got something to do with it, but like you say, 2-0 down, you're expecting a reaction, and there's just nothing there really, absolutely not. And the defending for the second goal as well was absolutely horrendous. It's just, it looks like they give up too easily. I think they've got their minds elsewhere. You say Saïs has got contract offers from Europe. I genuinely think some of these players have got their minds elsewhere. They just want to get the season done. I think the fact that Bruno has called the players out publicly, which I'm sure we'll come on to later, has probably had some sort of we're losing again. This is gonna, they're already preempting what's going to happen at full time. So yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one considering how much of a feel good factor there was only 2-3 months ago.
And how do you explain those two problems? So we've got this massive problem that a lot of people say, you've got the same squad, we haven't really bought in, we haven't really evolved. Yet that same squad of players used to be so good at coming from behind. What's changed there? It's the same players, give or take a few. So I
think they've been here too long.
They coexist? It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that this pure and simple. I think they've been here too long. Football isn't, we go back to, football's not the same as it was 15, 20, 30 years ago, where players and managers could stick at clubs for a good decade. I mean, I think Conor Cody and Matt Doherty are probably exemptions to the rule there. But overall, you're not going to, the most you'll get out of a squad is 3 years, I think. And then you have to kind of make wholesale changes, really. But it's just yeah. There's a lot of issues I think going into next season that need to be sorted. I mean, you alluded to it earlier, Dave, but the fact that we've had the same centre back since we got promoted, I think is mental to think about. Considering we've been in the Premier League 4 years now. What club? What genuine? You tell me any club that could be in the Premier League for as long as we have and not signed a centre back. It's just unheard of. Or centre mid for that matter. It's unheard of.
Yeah, you would think after we got Europa League that first season back, that was the time really for us to upgrade, because we put ourselves in the window there. We said, look at us, we're a team that have just smashed the Championship. We've spent a load of money, got 7th in the Premier League and into European competition. What a time to join Wolves. And every single one of those transfers that season, bar one, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, have been complete flops. We had Vallejo, who
awful.
Let's be honest. When Wolves first signed Vallejo, a lot of fans were excited because he played for Real Madrid. He was a fairly well spoken about talent. I was excited about that. So that's one. Catrone, complete failure again. But again, look at it before Wolves signed him. Although he wasn't
had a future stars on FIFA.
Yeah. Although he wasn't a prolific goal scorer, he was another player that fans were like, wow, okay, here we go. And the other two ones that come to mind are probably Jordao and Neto. And obviously, Jordao hasn't really got going. He's been unfortunate for injuries or whatever. And Neto did probably take a year to get going, but last season was exceptional. But straight away,
January as well. It was Pedence January that season.
Yeah, Pedence in January. And again, he's done, let's say, okay. Because again, I think he struggled with injuries. But from that summer window, your sort of marquee players there, well, aren't even at the club anymore. And really, really struggled and lost money on. So the transfers have been disappointed. And every time we have had a chance to really improve this team, and I think everyone can agree, since that first window in the Premier League, Wolves have not had a good transfer window whatsoever. We signed that first one. We'd signed Adama, we'd signed Patricio, we'd signed Matinho, we'd made Bolly and Jota permanent. And signed Dendoncker. That was a really strong window. But since then, they've been very, very underwhelming. And I think that's the thing. You've got 3 players at centre back that were all at the club before promotion, not even since, which is mad. And then going back to the thing about atmosphere, I think we had that momentum from promotion, finishing 7th, and even I remember, Finn, you would have been there. The game, I think, the game against Spurs right before lockdown, the atmosphere there was phenomenal. When we beat them 3-2, was it phenomenal? And then lockdown hit. Obviously, fans haven't been able to go for a year and a half or whatever, but the football standards dropped. They fell off a cliff. And then, as fans, we've come back into it new, sort of not knowing what to expect under Bruno Lage. But at the same time, then you've lost a lot of the Nuno had a dream chance, which was so, just got the crowd going. If it was a little bit flat, you could sing that and everyone would join in. Everyone would get going. You've lost an informed Raul Jimenez. So straight away, and I know a lot of people have moaned about the atmosphere just throughout the season. But I think Saturday were 1 or 2 people that sort of clicked why the atmosphere hasn't been as good as it has been. It's because the performances aren't matching on the pitch. Yeah, we've grinded out results. And I know Matt said he said on the podcast last week that it's annoying when we lose because we've been crap when we lose, but you don't really care when we win. You could play badly and win 1-0 and you just forget about the performance. But when a performance is flat, you're not going to get the fans to back it either. And I think that was the thing, Finn. On Saturday, there was boos at half-time. I can't quite remember it, but people were saying there were boos when the substitutions were made. And there were boos at full-time as well. Obviously, with Fabio Silva came off. Finn, what are your thoughts of that? Because I know there are people that listen to these podcasts that don't rate Fabio, and I appreciate that. We all watch different games. Well, we watch the same game, but we all have different opinions. Fabio, again, I thought, played okay on Saturday. He was the only one that really rolled up his sleeves and wanted to try and make things happen. But yet again, he's been subbed off for Jimenez, who's been out of sorts and out of form. And I know you're a bit of a Jimenez fan, aren't you? So, but what are your thoughts on this situation at the moment?
Well, it's tough, isn't it? Because, we've seen them play together once from the start at Burnley. Didn't really work. We don't really go with that thing that, even when they do play together, we don't go with that thing that I would like to see, that I think Leicester had a lot of success with, and they played a 5 at the back, which is where you have the 2 strikers and then a busybody, which I think could work. Going off topic slightly, could work with Pedence or Morgan Gibbs-White or someone like that. But anyway, that's besides the point. So you've got a lot going on in your mind where it's like Fabio Silva, you've spent all that money on, and no striker, I don't think, at the moment would be thriving in our team. I think when everyone's saying we need to sign a striker, they're going to go, right, okay, well, you've got players that you've spent a lot of money on. You've got really talented players, Jimenez, Neto, Prudence, whatever, and you're not scoring goals. I think you put, I'm trying to think of a good striker, Lewandowski, say, up top with us. He's not getting as many as he gets for Bayern. So every striker is automatically at a disadvantage because of the way that we're playing. You've then got an out of form, which I'm happy to say he's out of form, Raul Jimenez. You've got Fabio Silva that hasn't scored a goal all season, but he's running. So people are naturally just gravitating to that, which is fair enough because if every player does that, I don't think we lose 3-0. By the third goal, mate, it was like sort of reminiscent of those Leeds goals where everyone's just sort of wandering about. So you are going to gravitate to him. You want a young kid to do well. So I don't see how people can like boo Raul coming on or whatever. I think it's more the fact that they boo Fabio coming off.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was more than anything. Yeah.
But it's then you had those players come on in the second half, which are rumoured to have not been happy to be starting. So it's all a little bit of a mess, really. But just booing's a bit sad. And it's like, as you say, you go from that Tottenham game, again, one where, ironically, where we came from behind twice, hit lockdown hits, and then you say, right, this is where we are now. It's a bit depressing, really.
Yeah, and I think Fabio did okay. I think he was giving the defenders, was it Dunk? He gave him a little bit of trouble at times.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something Fabio does quite well in regards to 50-50s. I think he does trouble defenders at times and peels off them. And I think there's been a number of occasions this season where he's been unfortunate where the referee sort of decided, gone with the defender and given fouls against Fabio, which I think are quite harsh. But it was frustrating. And to lose 3-0, the third goal in particular, Tom, it looked like all the Wolves players were on the beach, looked like they had down tools. And could you argue Sarr possibly should have done a little bit better, but Basuma just, put the icing and the cherry on the top for Brighton, didn't he?
Yeah, to be honest, at that point, I was just fed up.
Giving up.
I was just fed up with that. I was just like,
you'd already clicked on women in your area on the stream.
Yeah. I honestly, genuinely, I
Russian
just
women
gone on the.
1.3
I was like, a virus on my computer can't get any worse, can it? Really? It was just depressing. It's strange, really strange. I don't know what on earth has happened to this team. I mean, Pedence getting injured and Neves getting injured. It has obviously been a big miss for the team, but for them to kind of just flake away the way that they have at times is just staggering. I really can't get my head around it because off the pitch, you look at these players and they all seem to get along really well and they've got a great bond. And in the press, they're always talking about, we're going to fight for this next, we're still fighting. Bruno says it as well. That can't be the case, surely, because we're not seeing it. It's just a very, very weird juxtaposition between what they're saying and what they're doing at the moment. And even Neves didn't look fantastic, but he's coming back from injury, so it's kind of understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really weird. I mean, yeah, the third goal, you could argue Sarr could do better, but I mean, at that point, it's kind of just another conversation to be had, sort of thing. We'd already lost the game, so it's just a strange defeatist mentality, and I think people now are starting to that early bird, that season ticket announcement. That there's a lot riding on that, because if they increase the prices again, then there's going to be some. I mean,
I think they're going to try and wait for a positive result. I think.
If we get a draw against Chelsea, or City or Liverpool or one of those, and we, if we somehow scrape Conference League, they'll without a doubt raise the prices again. But I think that's also part of the reason why I think the atmosphere is taking a hit, because when you increase the prices, you get more expectant fans. More expectant fans comes with higher expectations, obviously. That goes without saying. Lackluster performances like that will get booed. If you look at us under Mick McCarthy, or those days where it was kind of roll your sleeves or get stuck in, if we'd have lost 3-0, I don't think you'd get booed, really, because we knew that we weren't a team that were going to finish top 10, whatever. I know this team can, So you can maybe argue against the comparison. But I think that the more that Fosun try and go for that upper bracket, to compete with the top 6, apparently, to increase the prices, then I think you're going to get a more expectant fan base. And that goes without saying. If you say to the fans before the start of the season, we're doubling the ticket prices, because I think last season it cost me 20 quid to go to a game, something like that. This season it costs like 35, 40. So you're talking a considerable increase. If they say, we're competing, we're increasing these prices to compete with the top 6, and then you get rolled over 3-0 by Brighton, who are mid-table, got nothing to play for. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I think fans are well within their right to voice discontent at that, because it's like, well, first of all, we've come out of lockdown with less money. We're a working class city. Not to mention that game that we came back against United was the first game with fans, and they decided to increase the ticket price because it was such a special event. Weird, strange. And I think that's probably what's contributed, I think, it's a culmination of things. I think when things aren't going well, I think the fans are ready there to kind of jump at it, because we've been told to expect better because of these increasing prices. And unfortunately, when you play with that sort of, when it comes to football, when you play with that sort of narrative, if it doesn't work, it's going to end in fans not being happy.
Yeah, I think the Fosun and the team and performances and actions in the transfer window have definitely given fans ammunition, and I think that this performance and result over the weekend sort of pushed fans over the edge as such. And if we come away from the game slightly, I'm sure we've seen plenty on social media regarding the managerial situation, regarding Bruno Lage himself. There was a rumour, so this hasn't come from press or anything as such, but there's a rumour that Bruno Lage has had a bust-up with Johnny and Raul Jimenez. Again, I commented on it, and it seems, for me, if there was 2 players in the team most unlikely to have a bust-up, I would have probably said them two, Finn. But apparently, that was one of the reasons neither of them started on Saturday either. Can you see much truth in it? And if there is, what's your immediate thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't realize that, actually. I thought it was that they were angry that they weren't starting. So if it's come
Apparently
before, then I suppose wow, even more. That's more interesting if it was the other way around then. Yeah, it does seem like, I mean, I know them two off the pitch are also really good mates as well. So whether they've gone in like sort of like kids at school, right, I'll do it if you do it, sort of, and we'll have a moan together. But no, yeah, I assumed it was the other way around, like why are Fabio and Aït-Nouri starting over us or whatever. So no idea, to be honest. It's a strange one.
I don't know if this rumor has come about like after and someone's thought, they must have had a bust-up or whatever, because that lineup wouldn't have surprised me anyway. I thought Aït-Nouri's deserved to start. Fabio's deserved to start ahead of Jimenez. So that lineup hasn't, you got to think Johnny, he's come back from a very long-term injury. And I know he's played the last few weeks, but just to be playing full 90s week after week, that was, that is dangerous. You've got to watch his workload as well. So that lineup didn't surprise me, to be honest. So I don't know how true the rumor is, Tom, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, weird. I haven't really seen reports like that come out since kind of the double dip days, really. Just really out of character for this team, and again, it's rumors. I try not to comment on rumors, but at the same time, I can't help but be opinionated. So I just react to stuff as it comes, and I always go on the premise of if this is the case. It might not be the case. If it's not the case, my opinions are completely different. But if this is the case, it's a worry. If Bruno's lost part of the dressing room, then it's a concern really for him. I mean, you all know about this as well. We know that his time at Benfica, when things went bad, they went really bad. And he couldn't get that. He could not motivate that team. As soon as they started going on a losing run, they went on like I said before, they went on the worst run in the club's history, and he resigned. So for me, going off past experience, he doesn't look like a manager that's able to drag a team out of a rut. And I think maybe that's what Nuno might have, he was kind of good at that. When we had a stretch of a couple of bad results. Yeah, he was very careful in the press, hated the press, as we all know. Never spoke to the press about inside issues or anything like that. I mean, you can't imagine a leak like this getting, if it is been leaked, this person who posted obviously said that the source was very reliable. If that's been leaked, then it goes to show a kind of difference in regime, because you can't imagine something like that happening under Nuno. And there was murmurings at I think players have alluded to the fact that they weren't particularly happy with Nuno towards the end of his reign, like players like Cody and stuff. You can kind of infer the words they said that things weren't going right.
Yeah.
Which for me, again, it depends which way you see it, because you can look at it, as there's been a bust up, Bruno's lost the dressing room, but then you've also looking at, hang on a second, these players have alluded to not really being happy under Nuno either. How many managers in do we get before we start having to look at the players as well?
Yeah.
They can't just keep blaming managers again.
It's a bit like the United thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's happening in a number of clubs in England. Yeah, exactly that. And I think it's said as well that there's players and Bruno that are going sort of, not seeing eye to eye in regards to tactics either. I'm not too sure. I think, these are systems, maybe not so much instructions, but these are definitely systems that players have played over the last couple of years. Tactically, I think last Sunday was wrong, so I can all sort of understand if that was an issue there with Jimenez basically playing as a right winger. Obviously, we spoke about that quite a bit more on last week's pod. And to sort of finish off on this section, obviously, his future now is, I'm not going to say uncertain, but there's definitely question marks. There's very small question marks over Bruno Lage and his future at Wolves. Odds, if you look at betting odds, have slashed on him to become the next manager to leave or be sacked at a Premier League club before the end of the season. He's now favourite out of any manager in the Premier League to leave the club.
Wow.
So again, that is when, when people put money on it, that's when odds drop. But he's now the favourite to be the next manager to leave a Premier League club. Finn, there have been lots of rumours in regards to Julian Lopetegui at Sevilla possibly leaving. He's the man and he's the manager that Wolves had lined up ready to join join Wolves when Fosun were taking over. The takeover took longer than planned. He ended up becoming Spain manager. He's gone full circle. He's been at Spain. He's been at Real Madrid, done really well at Sevilla. Is he someone you would take at Wolves if Bruno Lage stepped aside?
We're a superb fan base, aren't we? We've just put 2 and 2 together, got 45. It's like, yeah. As you say, he was the original guy. I think he'll always be in the back of the Fosun's mind as like the one that got away, maybe. And Sevilla have been superb. I did see a Spanish journalist talking recently about a slight dip. Obviously, West Ham knocked them out in the Europa League as well, but it was looking at again, some Wolves fans aren't going to like their XG for and against.
I saw that.
And it was almost like an X almost. So you can imagine like the XG for being way higher than the against. And then as the season's gone on, they've overlapped and they're really struggling on that front. So maybe with Sarr in goal, that might not be a problem as the man that's counteracted that for Wolves all season. But no, there's been a dip with Sevilla. Would make sense if he's leaving. And it does make sense. Like you see, like Bruno's on a short contract. He's the lowest paid manager in the league. If there was that recent graph and he was bottom, just below Sean Dyche, who's now gone as well. So it'll be even further. So if they were looking at a sort of stopgap, right, get us through that final FFP period, we win next week and no one's talking about it. But the more and more you think about it, and as fans piecing it together, it could make sense and possibly before it. But I don't know. I can't say I've watched much Sevilla this season, but on the face of it, that looks impressive. And he signed a few Mexicans, so that's fine. You come over.
We'll talk about it a bit more because I know there's a lot of questions about it as well. So we'll definitely touch on that a bit more. Finn's mentioned Dyche there, Tom. Would you take Sean Dyche at Wolves?
No, don't start this rubbish. Do not. No,
show some passion.
You could not pay me to watch Sean Dyche football, genuinely. Oh, man.
Does us every year?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
So not a Sean Dyche and Andy Carroll on a free in the summer, no? You're not a fan of that?
God. We're going to become West Brom at this rate.
Yeah.
He'll go West Brom in the summer, guaranteed.
I've seen a couple of suggestions suggesting both of those, obviously both the manager and the player as well. But there are loads of questions about Lage and possible goings on. So we'll leave that for another 10-15 minutes or so. But we'll move. Oh, let's talk about BetMate actually before we finish. So like I said earlier, the BetMate game for the Chelsea match is now live. The code and link for that is in the description of the pod. If you're listening or driving, remember the code for later is TLK-CHE. I believe it will be the normal £3 to enter in the prize pot of at least £100. So get involved in that. And I didn't do too well, if I'm completely honest. I've had worse games, but didn't have the best of games. But a big shout out to Liam Likes, who won with 57 points. He took away 60 quid. Went very Brighton heavy, as you would expect. Had McAllister as his captain, Basuma as his vice. And in second place, our very own Matt Cooper. So he's beating me very comfortably again. He finished just 1 point behind Liam Likes, but he took away 33 quid. Again, quite a heavy Brighton team, as ever. Matt, ever the positive. But he split it quite well. He had Cucurella as captain. He did start Fabio Silva and Hwang, had Matinho and Basuma in his midfield. And then we had Jake G, 98 in third, to taking away 27 quid. Josh Corns, kickboxer, I assume, K-boxer, finishing fourth. And Ollie Clark, 22, finishing in fifth. So thank you, everyone, for joining that one. And like I said, the Chelsea pot is now ready. Guys, a little transfer game. I've got 10 players whose contracts are expiring in the summer. And going to give you the names, and I want you to tell me if you would take them at Wolves for next season, and maybe a little reason if you wish as well. So let's see what your football opinions are like. Finn, we'll start off with a player that's always linked with a move to England, but not actually come. Andrea Belotti.
It's Belotti. Yeah, I was big Belotti propaganda about 2 or 3 years ago, and then seeing him at Molineux, and I think he scored as well.
Did well against Wolves, to be fair.
Yeah, and I know you can't. I mean, it's probably not great to judge an entire country, but after seeing an Italian striker and not seeing in general many Italians do very well in England, I'm not sure. But on the face of it, he's the exact type of striker that I love. I think you call him maybe a pressing forward on Football Manager. You can use both feet as well. Yeah, he's left-footed, right-footed. So for me, if he's not asking for too much, I think he's had a bit of a dip, hasn't he? So he won't have that caliber of club that were being rumoured. I remember Tottenham heavily linked. So he may be more Wolves level on a free if he's not asking for stupid stuff like I saw Rudiger asking for 10, 15 mil or whatever on top. So if there's a deal to be done there, I could be tempted by that one.
Tom, what do you reckon?
It's funny you mentioned he's a pressing forward because his defensive pressures are actually really terrible. So
are they? What's happened to him? He's on
like 30%. He's on the 30 percentile for that. Yeah, no. If we're talking strikers, I'd take him. I mean, what is it, like 8 goals and 1 assist in Serie A this season?
Yeah, but
from 7xG as well. So he's overperformed his xG, and he's overperformed his XA as well. So there you go. He's only by 0.1 though.
Only played 19 games. He got a goal every 143 minutes this season. It's not bad.
Not a great team either. Yeah. So he's
if he wasn't Italian, I'd take him. Because he's Italian, I'm not having him.
No, I don't know.
That's not a bad thing.
I would take him. Yeah. I would take him. He's got good progressive passes. He's a big man as well. Good in the air. He's
I like how he's built
as well. This is a transfer. It's not dating show, Finn. Come on.
Yeah,
lovely back.
If he was 99% of Italians fail in the Premier League, so I'm not having him. Sorry.
I don't know. Well, I thought Gianfranco Zola was all right, wasn't he?
Yeah, let's talk modern era. Jorginho. Other than that, last 10 years, can you think of anyone?
Jorginho's arguable.
Yeah, Gabbiadini, Catrone.
Oh God, yes, good point.
Graziano Pele.
Is there a good
Pele.
Italian in the league now?
Remember when Wolves tried to sign Pele last year or the year before?
Yeah, Grazie.
Oh, Grazie.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, what a legend, mate.
Let's move on to player 2. Tom, we'll start off with you. I don't know if you obviously see much about him. Boubacar Kamara, reportedly close to Wolves. Well, Wolves wanted him last summer. Didn't get him.
The defensive midfielder.
Marseille, yeah.
I don't watch a lot of Ligue 1, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll take him. He's young, versatile, kind of fits into the profile that Fosun go for. Not too big of a talent to have an ego. French, so could do some more French players, and keep him coming. I'll take him 100%.
Yeah, from what I remember, obviously I don't like it that he sort of rejected us in the first place. I never like that. Like when Zinchenko rejected us the once and we went back in, I was like, nah, leave it. But I suppose a year later on, was the reason, I remember because he can play centre half, centre mid as well, so I was quite keen for him to come in. But what was it that he wanted to? I can't remember what it was, but it was
I think he wanted to be a
Newcastle, wasn't it? He
midfielder.
rejected. Is that what it was?
Didn't pull their finger out, mate. That's what.
Yeah, it was quite last minute as well. But yeah, I'd take him. All these players come with that added bonus of no fee, don't they? So it feels like less of a risk, and they're all so far decent players till we get to Andy Carroll.
Yeah, some big players linked with Kamara, Atletico Madrid, Inter, Juventus. So I mean, that's the sort of caliber of player.
United, I think we're linked with him at one point. Yeah. They're linked with everyone. So
next up, Finn, Tarks, James Tarkowski.
Tarks.
Well, Dice is going to love him when he comes in. So, I think we'll reunite him.
There you go.
Never really put a foot wrong against Wolves. Fills the homegrown quota. There's potential there. How old is he now? He's got the other side of 30, sure.
Oh, me and Tarks.
He's 28, isn't he?
Is he?
29.
We have a Google.
Oh, wow.
30 this year.
Left in him.
20. Oh, yeah, he's 29. Right, that's not far off.
There'll be a few sniffing around him, I imagine.
Well, I think it's one of them. If Burnley stay up, I think he signs a new deal there. That's what I think. Tom, what do you reckon?
That's got Leicester written all over it. That has. I'll take him 100%. Yeah, 100% take him. Easy.
There you go. Is he an upgrade on Bolly, Sace?
Yep.
There you go. Simple as that. Tom, Messi, Lingard, Jesse Lingard.
Wages notwithstanding, yes, he'll want stupid money, but he's unreal. If he plays in a team that actually builds around him, plays consistently, he's actually really good. You see him in that West Ham team last season. You know, I know he's become a bit of a can be a bit of a joke if he's dancing and whatnot. I just think he's a down to earth bloke. You know, that's all it is. So yeah, 100% take him. I can see him getting along well with Cody.
There you go, Finn.
Probably. I mean, it's hard to say. Like wages aside, that's with any play. Well, wages aside, can we sign you? But I do get what you mean. It's like I want Morgan to be our that sort of player next year. So we'll stick Stafford, born and bred, and someone else can have him.
There you go. No, Finn. Sorry, Christian Eriksen.
Ooh,
it's an interesting one.
Set piece delivery goes up a little. Yeah, that is.
Could actually beat the first man from a corner, possibly.
Yeah. I wouldn't say no. I mean, he's good that everyone's sort of like watching from afar. And with Brentford, they've taken the risk on him, and I think there may be bigger clubs. Was it only a 6-month contract at Brentford?
Yeah, he's out of contract. I know Spurs have been linked to him again.
Yeah, I think with how he's done, he seems to have impressed them, and to be able to get him on a free. And I think everyone was a bit wary, but he seems to not be affected at all. If anything, players aren't going in as hard as well, like that Brandon Williams clip on him. So yeah, we might be able to just dance through, score a few. That's fine.
Tom?
Yeah, easy. Yeah, you can't say no to Christian Eriksen. I know he's been out for, obviously what happened to him was, pretty terrifying. But it's not like he's broke a leg. Also, he's still a brilliant player. And he's had time to get back into things now in the Premier League with Brentford. He's looked really good as well at points. He's looked like his old self. It's only a matter of time before a big club comes sniffing around. I think we'd be a good level club for him to come to as well. If we're looking for that 7th, 8th kind of place, it's another little rung up from Brentford, so he doesn't have to go to the top level straight away. Again, if Brentford could afford his wages, I'm sure we can. I know Brentford work very well on a tight budget. So, I think it'd be a superb player, experienced, another player who's playing in the Champions League, and a creative midfielder as well. Someone to actually create chances other than Neves. So, I think he would complement the side really well.
Wolves were linked with him back in January 2021. Sky Italy said we were in talks with his representatives. So maybe there's something there. Tom, Divakarigi.
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I would I would take Origi. I'd take anyone, to be honest, at this point. But yeah, I'd take Origi. I think he's a really solid player. his finishing ability actually is pretty underrated, I would say. If you look at some of the goals that he scores, he's a good finisher. All it is, again, with these players, I think it's consistent game time. When you're talking about people, he hasn't played. You look at Jimenez before we signed Jimenez, he barely played. As soon as you give one of those players consistent game time and give them time to get settled into a system, they can play really well. I think the Bruno Lage, from what we can maybe have seen this season, wants a different type of striker to Jimenez. I don't think Jimenez has fit as well into his system as he did with Nuno. So I think Divakarigi could be one of those players. Again, even as a squad option, I think he's, hold my hands up, he's probably better than Fabio, really. He does get goals. He has scored goals at the highest level. So yeah, absolutely take him in. Yeah, exactly. It scored at Molineux. Yeah, just so he can't get the inevitable last-minute winner against us next season. Get him in.
What do you think, Finn Origi?
Yeah, it's a really strange career, isn't it? But one that I think anyone would take in a heartbeat, like that sort of cult hero level. The amount of iconic goals he scored, and then broke our hearts this season as well. Which probably tops the list for him. But no, it's on the face of it, I think like the words that Klopp said after he scored that goal against us, like it was almost like sort of spreading him around. I I wish someone would be able to give him a home where he could play every week. It was strange comments, but I also sort of knew what he meant, that like he maybe deserves more than he's getting at Liverpool just because of that array of talent in front of him. So maybe we're the home for him. It's hard. You can only judge these like 10-minute cameos. So would we use him as an impact sub as well? Would he succeed doing a full season? I don't know, but probably again worth a risk.
He's only 27 as well, so
a few years left in him.
Yeah.
Let's go quick fire on these last four. Finn, Gareth Bale. Wages aside.
Wages aside.
Wages aside, and the golf course that we'll have to build in his house. Probably not.
He was a player.
He's fallen out of love, hasn't he? I think with football a little bit, unless he's playing for Wales. But I didn't think I'd ever be in a position to say no to Gareth Bale, but I think I'll probably lean to my gut says probably not. I think he's.
No.
I don't know.
Tom, what do you think?
I want to go no.
Wow.
Yeah. That,
I would have said yes personally, but
I think the wages, injury record for me.
I think the wages are probably a bit much as well. Finn, someone who's actually playing possibly for the last time at this stadium tonight for Manchester United, Juan Mata.
Oof. I think this is the first time he started a game in a couple of years as well. They were saying. Probably not. His legs seem to have, but going off like my Man United mates' opinions as well. I haven't watched him too much. Obviously, I don't think anyone else, to be honest, because he doesn't play very much. But his legs seem to have gone, bless him. Unbelievable player back in the day. One of those streets won't forget, but probably not now. Maybe not Wolves' level. I don't know where he'd go. Maybe back to Spain, which is a bit slower, but yeah.
Valencia or something.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, no, not a chance. Doesn't get into our team. I'd rather have Dendonka.
This is an interesting. Oh, wow. Okay. This one's an interesting one, Tom. Eddie Nketiah at Arsenal.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I really like Nketiah.
Start for Wolves?
I don't think he starts, but I really like him. Every time he's played for Arsenal, I've seen him. He shows decent energy. I know that it's been hit and miss for him this season, but.
When he's sort of started the recent games, he's been a bit of a menace the last couple of weeks. I know he's struggled to start.
When he's playing well, his finishing is really good for a young player. Again, it's one of those players. All it's going to take is a chance to be given to start in a team, be closer to that first team constantly. He's quick. Decent physically as well. He's got good movement, good finisher. I think he's a step above Fabio again. I think you'd be silly to turn him down, and he's still at a really good age as well to get a return on him, which is obviously what Ferguson are probably going to look at as well. And he's English, so
there you go. Finn.
Yeah, sort of echo those thoughts. It's just what he's trying to achieve with running down his contract at Arsenal. If he's probably to try and start somewhere, isn't it? Which probably not the sort of one of the bigger pay packet. Yeah, so I can't even think. Has he ever been on loan to sort of prove himself?
Leeds so failed. Yeah, the championship. Yeah.
So someone's going to give him a full season, and could be us. Why not? Get him in.
And the final one, Arsenal again, Finn. Mohamed El Neni.
Oh. You
So
know
that's
what?
one for the social media. He's got a massive following here,
Cool.
you know.
Oh yeah, 100%. Get him in. Up the pyramid. Yeah, I'm gonna get
Up the pyramid. You see that pass that he put the other day? That pass that he put against, who did Arsenal play? West Ham. I think it was one of the recent games, United or West Ham, whatever. He put in an unbelievable through ball.
How old is he?
He's on the older side. He's on the older side.
Comes to every game dressed as Moon Knight from now on for my videos. That's the plan. Get him in.
29. Yeah, 12, 30 in the summer. Yeah, 30 in the summer.
Oh, God. Yeah, why not? Go on.
Yeah, with DM. There we go.
Yeah,
let us know your thoughts if you, either drop us a tweet or on YouTube. Let us know your thoughts with some of those opinions. But we move on to the questions now, lads. Got loads coming in, mainly on Twitter. I didn't put it on Instagram this time around, so apologies for that. But we'll start off with, we're going back to the discussion that we had about 10, 20 minutes ago. Shiv has said, it won't happen. But Finn, if you could switch Bruno for Lopetegui in the summer, would you? There we go.
Yeah, something we kind of...
Are you going to be loyal?
Kind of covered. I'm loyal, but yeah. I can see it happening, just because of the whole... If you
go off with it now, Jeff Shee comes to you, 2 contracts on the table, says, Finn, you got to sign one of these for me. Who you'd bring in?
If you looked at the experience of those 2 men...
And Jeff Shee gives you 100 million, says you got to give this to one of these 2 managers. Who are you going to trust more with the money?
Oh, that's not... I'd feel... Because Bruno's never had the chance, so I'd feel so sad if I did go the other way, but... Oh, I don't like it, Dave. I don't...
Finn's Lopetegui, I know. There you go.
That's why he's saying he doesn't like it, because he knows what he wants to say.
Nah, Bruno, forget Bruno.
No, Bruno deserves it. We'd have treated him so badly if...
Come on, over Lopetegui.
Oh, I know, but I
think it's one of Europa League.
I couldn't tell him. All right, I'll say Lopetegui, but I couldn't be the one to tell him.
Just say this is a confidential decision. He'll say this is Jez Moxey's going to tell him, but you got to pick. They're bringing Jez Moxey out just for one day only.
Yeah, just to get the slap.
Rufus, Tom, what are you saying? Are you going Lopetegui?
I'd tell him to sign Renato Sanchez, mate. 17 million he's gone to AC Milan. It could be going to AC Milan for
Champions League team.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Lopetegui every day of the way. I don't care, mate. Get Bruno out if Lopetegui's on the
Bruno,
offer.
man. He's a big fan of the Talking Wolves podcast. He ain't happy now, mate. He's not.
Sorry, Bruno. Generally, I was a big fan at the start of the season, but mate, it happens.
This is one, and this is sort of a follow-on. This is from Smee. 249133307. Always a bit sus with that many numbers. Tom, simple question. Answer yes or no. Are you convinced Bruno is the right man for Wolves?
Oh,
these are tough questions.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Gotta give me more.
Is he the right man for Wolves?
I don't agree with the question. I'll be honest. You can't. It's too polarizing. You can't have black or white. I think there's got to be some grey area there.
Fucking black and white or what? Get the wall knocking.
I think, it's tough because he said that he agreed with the booing, which I think there's something not quite right with him and the players. If that's the case, it's always better to get rid of a manager than half the squad, I think. But again, I don't really like these players. These
are tough questions, People are throwing us under the bus a little bit. Yeah. Finn, are you going to be brave enough to answer that, or do you want to pass?
I do like a politician, Dave. Okay, has he been the right man? Yes. For the situation that we've been in, he's done amazing on such a limited budget. Will he be? Unsure. There you go.
Who knows? You can't answer that until next season, realistically.
What's the board's intention? Yeah, do we need to kick
on? With no money back in, you can't really say if he's been the right man or not.
Yeah. Look at the amount of money they gave Nuno. Close
the thing
to
is
200 mil.
With Lage, it's because if he struggles now between now and the end of the season, and really, let's say he doesn't pick up another point between now and the end of the year, which I really hope doesn't happen. And the board say, right, well, as a businessman, you're going to be dubious to be giving him 70, 80 million to spend, aren't you? Because if you're giving that money and he continues his bad slump, then you've wasted your money, and you're going to have to bring another manager in who's not necessarily going to be happy with the players that he's got again. So it's definitely, if that happens, if we don't pick up points, definitely an interesting situation for Fosun to be in. We're going to go to the next question. This is from Pedence Maradona, Charlie WWFC 37. Finn, top 3 takeaways in order. Let's go, not in order. Let's just say top 3 takeaways.
Grill it. Top by clear by far. I'll probably go Chinese. Are we counting? Are we going like classics, like sort of
whatever you want?
We're not counting.
Let's go grill it, Chinese. What else are you saying?
Grill it, Chinese. What? So it's between Indian, pizza, and I don't really have any others. What else is it?
Yeah, it probably is. It's probably.
Well, would I go for an Indian or a pizza? I do like an Indian. I'll go grill it, Chinese, Indian. Because if I was having a pizza, I just get like an Asda one.
I think that's the same. I do like Domino's and that, but that's probably the order. The same 3 I would go with. Indian's probably the go-to if you're having a takeaway, but the grill it's up there. I've grilled it probably most often. Actually,
we need to get a sponsor, man. They get so much.
Yeah,
so
grill it. We'll speak to him. We'll have a word. Tom, what are you saying?
I'm gonna bring a bit of a northern twang to this.
Let's say like Zizzies or Wagamamas or something here.
Pucker pies.
So in terms of takeaways, there's probably 3. So there's a place called Number One Chinese Takeaway, which do Indian, which I really like.
Oh, wait, Chinese takeaway, but they do Indian.
No, they do Chinese. But that was a really terrible dad joke. I just thought. Unsurprisingly, they do Chinese food. They're really good. There's another couple of good places, but I can't remember. Pearl Ocean or something, Ocean Palace or something like that. They're also Chinese, very good. All Stars. If you ever go to Manchester, folks, go to All Stars. Unreal food. And
what do they do there? All Stars?
So they kind of do everything, really. It's all encompassing: pizza, kebab, you name it. Chicken,
like a proper takeaway.
Unreal, proper. Yeah. Nice little restaurant. So if anyone wants the details for that, let me know. And Jojo's Chicken as well. Jojo's Chicken is my top place. It's 18 wings and 2 sides for 12 quid.
That's a lot.
Good deal.
Yeah, but he's not said chicken wings, though, has he? For that amount of money, they ain't chicken.
Well, the wings are good, but yeah, stomach-wise, it does mess me up the next day. It does mess me up the next day. But the food itself is amazing.
There's loads of in and around Wolverhampton. There's some mad places, especially in Wolverhampton town. But that's for a night out. Maybe
I haven't experienced them. I need to.
There's all sorts. Charlie's Fish Bar. If you go late in Wolverhampton, like 4 a.m., it's the only place open.
I tell you what, Chippies. Yeah, Chippies in. There's not too many Chippies around here. I'll be honest.
Well, it's one of those. After I'm not a smoker or whatever. 2-3 o'clock, and people are saying, "Where can I buy cigarettes?" Because everywhere's shut. This Chippy, he's probably going to get him shut down.
Mate, they sell cigarettes.
Mate, I don't think it's legal. But he sells cigarettes, yeah.
Oh, mate,
I've probably got him shut down. Charlie, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
That's not hygienic. We can't. We might. I don't think we can leave that. It's not hygienic at all.
Mate, I don't.
Be like that thing outside that Chippy Dave.
Ruin their business.
I never knew that.
I never knew that. What? We'll have some coke with that. Wolvesman 13. This is another one with numbers. Samuel J 271943224. Finn, would you take Martinho as gaffer for the rest of the season? Give it a shout to end the season.
He looked great in a suit. Yes. Fantastic. Get him in.
I fancy him in a tracksuit, me. I think he'll wear a tracksuit when he's surely.
He'd pull any of them off.
He would be a tracksuit, but I said to Finn, you know what? We've lost our touch since managers stopped wearing suits in the dugout.
You did say that, yeah.
I did say that. So I'm just
Nuno doesn't wear suits anymore, does he?
No, but I always had a theory with Kenny Jackett. If he didn't wear a suit, we didn't win. But like an evening game, he put a tracksuit on.
Did he ever not win a suit? Did he ever not wear a suit? Though?
Yeah. He used to have a tracksuit every now and then, but he stopped it.
Nuno cleaned up at Spurs, though, didn't he? Because he was looking.
He did. Yeah, London tax. London tax.
Yeah, at the end of.
I reckon.
Well, Bruno's in between, and he loves a Castor. He rivals me for the Castor gear.
I think that the managers have to wear it though. I think it's part of the deal. I think
he did a video. You know, remember when he won the manager of the month? He said something about he called it Castore though. He said something about Castore. I think he's trying to get more garms off him. You know, he must have a deal with him. Who knows? Yeah, somewhat. To be fair, someone that said should the players be looked at more than the manager, considering it's been the same for 4 years. That is something that Tom brought up earlier. Is Bruno really up to the job? We've pretty much touched on it. Stonewolf68, he said, will TLK-CHE, big up Jez, will TLK-CHE start spending some cash, or are we on a one-way trip back to the championship? No.
If things stay the same, don't shoot the messenger. But I think there's a possibility we could go down if things stay the same.
So if Fosun don't spend next season, this summer, and no players leave and no players join, you think we could get relegated?
I don't think we will, but I think we'll struggle. I think we'll be 40.
Won't be as good as this season. Yeah.
If you look at the momentum, so if you look at, like, for example, the season Leicester won the league, the momentum at the end of that campaign, they were flying, absolutely flying, winning games, kept the same manager, similar group. They got Ranieri in, similar group of players. The momentum carried on.
Yeah.
You look at teams that have gone down. When you end the season on awful momentum, if you keep that same dressing room, there's discontent there. Bruno's still there. There might be discontent towards him. You start the season off poorly again. Things don't really change. You're talking a struggle. You really are.
Well, we're sticking with the numbers theme. James Saxon, James Saar, 36443478. Finn,
these are formations next season.
Yeah. That's Bruno's tactics board. Finn, who would you sell in the summer from the lineup we saw on Saturday? So very quickly, Saar is a keep.
100%.
You know? Tomato, keep.
Although he didn't have a great game, but yeah, keep.
Yeah. Bolly.
I think the centre backs either side of Cody, you could question both. Obviously, Stace might be going for £0, but Bolly probably would keep him. Yeah, and Cody, then if we are going to try and go to a 4, but I think you can't blame Cody for anything, if like very, very little this season. Yeah. It's been very good. So then you've got Johnny and Aït-Nouri probably keep both. Then Duncan, Martino, Neves. The Neves one is never one you're going to actively look to sell. It's just whether we'll lose him against our will. Well, maybe the club will look to sell him to the highest bidder, but obviously you wouldn't want to sell him, but he may go. Martino, he's out of contract as well, isn't he? Then Donker,
would you keep him, Joe, though? Would you keep Joe for next season?
I think I'd give him a 1 year. Yeah, I think there's flashes this season where you just think, yeah, this guy's never gonna decline as his age. Then Donker used in a different way. I just feel so for it. Like there was one right in front of us on the day at the North Bank where a different player, like in that
was a
position,
great knocking. That was.
Yeah,
that was
because it's just not his forte to run. So
was that the ball that Neves put through, and Dendoncker was on the right hand side, and he didn't quite. He didn't have the pace to get onto it.
Yeah,
he got
it, didn't it? Straight to the keeper, I think. So like
that.
Yeah. So Dendoncker using a different way, and then you got Fabio, who they make no sense to sell him because of the loss you'd make. And Wang, the only thing you could do is, I said in the chat before, Dave, do an aphobia on him. And but I don't think you could sell him for more than we've got the option. So you can't really do that. So very uncertain.
I think
look at the team
Leeds
there,
will be interested, won't they? For 15, we'll do Leeds again.
Jesse March, Newcastle as a squad player.
To be fair, he did play under Jesse March, didn't he? At Salzburg,
scored 0 goals in 20. But at Salzburg as well. Yeah.
And he bought him for Leipzig, then, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he probably would. Yeah, and then
he would have. Yeah, he would have done.
There we go.
Actually, I don't know. No, I'm lost.
Maybe just before. I'm not sure. I don't know.
They played together at some point. Well, played under.
A lot of questions in regards to Wolves either letting us speak to Samaritans during games, subsidising the therapy, drinking pints during games to get us through.
Nice to know everyone's cheerful as always.
We've got a question from Shabab, who I know he's an avid Talking Wolves viewer because he's in my mentions a lot. He says, "Are we better suited to a 4-2-3-1, especially if we get Morgan Gibbs White back? Maybe Chem Campbell in there. Use Cody in the DM role Totti
Oh,
Gomez in
not
for
this
Stace.
again. I'm not having anyone who's backing this Cody.
That's why I brought it
Nadir
up.
Dave's seen that and his eyes have lit up.
You've read that and you've gone,
Yes.
finally, one other person in this fan base is talking about Cody at DM. No chance. He's not got the legs for that.
Somebody
He'd be skinned.
replied, Cody was a mid to low tier midfielder in the championship. Why would we have him in there at all?
Yeah.
Oh, he got 4 quotes
That's
each as
harsh
well. I
on
don't want to
Cody.
read them, man, because he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's
Some
harsh
people
on
shouldn't be
Cody.
allowed to watch football. Why would you
Don't
want
read
Cody
him
in
out.
the
Don't read him. He's
No,
already
that's
seen
it.
them on his notifications.
bless him.
Don't want to read them out. Some people. But the Cody point aside,
Oh man.
I think there could be potential there, couldn't there? It's like ignoring the
I
Cody.
feel sorry for
midfield.
Shabab. Oh,
I
do
actually
you like
agree
to do that on Twitter? You just see someone getting rinsed. She's like, oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Except Wolves away days. No offense, Wolves
Mate,
away days.
I saw he was getting
You know what
coded.
you did.
I've had it blocked for a long time, mate. So
You
there's
know what
always-
you did, Wolves away days.
A big, very well liked tweet was from avid Talking Walls watcher and contributor Joey. What outside temperature do you change from trousers to shorts?
I
in
saw
Norwich?
this. I've been thinking about this for the past hour.
Oh, you know what? I've got them on now, but that's because I get hot doing the podcast. So inside temperature, I probably, if I'm looking at it, probably like 15, 16. I go, yeah, that's shorts. What is it currently? 12, and I've got shorts on, but that's because of the podcast. Yeah, I'll go 15.
What do you think, Tom?
Fahrenheit.
15. 6. Well, you're proper short wearer.
Let him breathe, mate. Let the legs breathe like Skechers, mate. No, I'll probably go 12.
12. There are some people like that.
It depends because if it's an overcast 12, no. But if it's a sunny 12, then yes.
What if it's sunny? It ain't gonna be 12 degrees, though, is it? Or do you just mean?
Well, of course it
very
is.
little
Yeah,
breeze?
it can be. It can be sunny and like 2 degrees.
I have, Dave, since about 2 years ago when we met SX at the
yeah, he loves it, doesn't he?
sleep out, and he loves the shorts and hoodie combo. And I thought, I like that. And I do go shorts and hoodie a lot. I do like that combo. So maybe lower it down to about 13, 14.
Around the house, I wear shorts a lot. But very rarely I wear them out and about. If it's warm, it's normally just a t-shirt and jeans combo.
Oh no, I can't wear jeans when it's.
I can't
hot,
wear
mate.
shorts. Well, I don't. I very rarely wear shorts at work and stuff. I'm actually inked up on the back of my leg as well, and I so.
Jeez.
Oh,
Leave in the comments t-shirt and jeans or hoodie and shorts.
Hoodie
I'll
and
I
take
like a
it.
jump. I do like a jumper and
Jeans,
shorts. Is
man.
what I normally go for. But yeah, good question. I like questions like that. If anyone else in the
I like
future has
that.
questions like that, do let us know. There's been loads, but I think a lot of them we've sort of answered throughout the podcast in regards to the situation and so on. Someone asked, do we have a chance to sign Renato Sanchez still?
no.
I didn't even
I
know he
don't
was
think
going.
we do. I don't think we do. AC Milan have been in and around that for ages now. I think since January they've been talking about AC Milan, and they've got Champions League and potentially a Scudetto by the end of the season. So, yeah, not looking good for our Wolves in that sense.
Well, I think that is all for today's podcast, lads. Thank you very much for jumping on. As always, guys, be sure to check out the BetMate game for this weekend up against Chelsea. Once again, the code and the link to join is in the top of the description, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, any other podcast apps, and obviously YouTube as well. To finish us off, let me get my teeth in. To finish us off, Tom, where can people find you if they wish?
Find me at twitter.com. And my username is Tom_Parker12.
Thank you. And Finley?
Finn is FINERRZ on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Nice to see you all getting on the Be Real train as well since last time, but you can't add me because it's very private.
Oh, yeah, I need to download that. Be Real.
You do. Dave was on mine at the weekend.
You?
Yeah, Dave and Liv were on mine. It came up at the game, and I was
fantastic.
like, second half.
I think I'll be banned off that app, you know. I'll have to be careful.
What would you get
what
to
Dave's
in your spare time?
Oh, joking. Selling cigarettes at my shop. And mine is Dave Azzopardi, DAVEAZZOPARDI on both Twitter and Instagram. And obviously Talking Wolves on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. be sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you're listening or watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called these days, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. And until next time, fingers crossed, Wolves get 3 points against Chelsea. And we'll see you all very, very soon.